Christopher Lee's life reads like a grand epic, a story filled with adventure, transformation, and an incredible range of achievements, both on and off the screen. Best known for his chilling portrayal of Count Dracula and villainous roles in some of cinema's greatest franchises, Lee was much more than a horror icon. His story spans war, espionage, classical music, and even heavy metal. In every sense, Lee was a man of many lives. Born on May 27, 1922, into a family of aristocratic heritage, Lee's early years hinted at the life of intrigue and distinction he would come to embody. His mother, Estelle Carandini, descended from Italian nobility, while his father, Geoffrey Lee, was a decorated British Army officer. From a young age, Lee was exposed to a sense of duty and honor that would shape his path in ways no one could predict. As a teenager, Lee's life took a dramatic turn when World War II broke out. At 17, he volunteered to fight for the Finnish forces during their battle against the Soviet Union, though his time in Finland was short. After returning to England, he joined the Royal Air Force, becoming an intelligence officer and working on covert operations. Lee's experiences in the war were often shrouded in secrecy, though it's said he was involved in dangerous missions, including tracking down Nazi war criminals. The war left him with stories so intense that when he later took on fictional roles, he would sometimes remark, "I've seen worse in real life." After the war, Lee turned to acting, but success didn't come quickly. Towering at 6'5", he was often considered too intimidating for many roles. However, it was this very stature and commanding presence that eventually landed him his breakthrough part in 1957's The Curse of Frankenstein, a Hammer horror film that reimagined classic monsters for a new generation. His next role would cement his place in cinematic history. In 1958, Lee first played Count Dracula in Dracula, bringing an intensity and sensuality to the role that redefined the vampire mythos. Unlike Bela Lugosi's earlier portrayal, Lee's Dracula was both aristocratic and terrifying, seductive yet savage. His magnetic performance turned him into a horror icon, and he would go on to reprise the role in several sequels throughout the 1960s and 70s. Lee became the face of Hammer horror, starring in films like The Mummy and The Wicker Man, the latter being one of his favorite roles. Although he became famous for playing Dracula, Lee refused to be typecast. He sought more challenging roles, and his career took a fascinating turn in the 1970s. One of his most acclaimed performances was as Lord Summerisle in The Wicker Man, 1973, a psychological horror film that remains a cult classic. Lee's chilling portrayal of the pagan leader revealed his ability to play more nuanced, complex villains. By the 2000s, Lee experienced a career renaissance in two of the biggest franchises of all time. In the Lord of the Rings trilogy, he played Saruman, the once wise wizard who turns to darkness. A lifelong fan of J.R.R. Tolkien's works, Lee was deeply invested in the role and even spoke Elvish, a fictional language from the books. Around the same time, he was cast as Count Dooku, a Sith Lord in Star Wars Episode II Attack of the Clones and Episode III Revenge of the Sith. These roles introduced Lee to a new generation of fans and showcased his ability to remain relevant across decades of changing cinema. While most know Lee for his film work, he had an extraordinary range of interests and talents beyond acting. Fluent in several languages, Lee was a voracious reader and a historian, particularly fascinated by medieval warfare. He also loved music, specifically opera and metal. In his 80s and 90s, he embarked on an unexpected but fittingly dramatic second career as a heavy metal vocalist. Lee's deep, resonant voice found a home in symphonic metal, and he released several albums, including Charlemagne, By the Sword and the Cross, a concept album about the life of the medieval emperor. His passion for storytelling, whether through acting or music, never waned, even in his final years. Christopher Lee passed away in June 2015 at the age of 93, leaving behind a legacy as one of cinema's most enduring figures. With over 280 film credits to his name, he remains one of the most prolific actors in history. From the chilling presence of Dracula to the dark wisdom of Saruman, Lee brought gravitas to every role he played. Yet, his off-screen life was just as remarkable. An intelligence officer, a heavy metal musician, and a man of deep intellect and curiosity.